Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. To Ranking Member DeLauro and Ranking Member McCollum, thank you so very, very much for your hard work on our side of the aisle, too. I'm grateful for the bipartisan effort that you've helped lead on this important bill in past years, which has been a hallmark of our Defense Subcommittee for as long as I've served on it. But after reviewing this bill we were considered today, I am left with significant concerns. As written, the bill does more to divide us than to unite us. Importantly, it fails to provide adequate support to our armed forces and to meet liberty's test in our time and generation. Less than 2 months ago, this Congress rallied together, admittedly after a dangerously long delay, to pass necessary supplemental aid for Ukraine and other allies. America's enemies applauded, and that delay whet their appetite for more mischief. This week, with 4 Russian naval vessels porting in Cuba for military drills, including a nuclear-powered submarine, we are reminded liberty's adversaries are active and paying keen attention. Ukraine stands on the front line of liberty. Tyranny cannot be placated, and its aggression will not stop of its own accord. Only when faced with a strong, united, and unyielding allied front can aggression be contained. Over and over, history teaches us this lesson written in the blood of brave men and women. Just 1 week after free nations honored the 80th anniversary of D-Day, at Normandy, this bill appears to be willfully ignoring these costly lessons. It fails to include funding for the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative. Ukrainians are not asking us to fight alongside them. They are simply asking for the material support so desperately needed for their valiant soldiers to retake their own territory from unprovoked, deadly Russian aggression that began in 2014 and then was ratcheted up in 2022. Ukraine is fighting fiercely against the 3rd largest military in the world and has already taken back 50% of the territory stolen by Russia, especially now as liberty's adversaries are drawing closer together in partnership. Iran, North Korea, China, Russia, it's pretty clear, mutually supporting one another in their attacks on freedom. Now is the time for America to lead. The free world has been acting on borrowed time with the lives of Ukrainian soldiers. This body cannot wait any longer to send a message to our adversaries from Europe to the Middle East to the Indo-Pacific. America is liberty's shield, and we must stand strong with our NATO allies. This bill takes an important step by including key provisions in other sections of the bill to support research, testing, and manufacturing of space technologies, so vital to compete and win future conflicts. However, partisan riders unrelated to defense policy overwhelmingly make this critical bill a tool for division, not the unity our nation and service members rightfully expect and need. In one of the most challenging recruiting environments of recent time, this bill seeks to increase barriers to service. It denies reimbursement to service members and their families for travel expenses related to non-covered reproductive health care, which includes egg retrieval and IVF. This bill would penalize particularly women service members who now constitute 20% of our service members for their decision to serve by restricting their ability to travel when stationed in locations without access to reproductive health care. As written, this bill constructs barriers to service. It discriminates against the very Americans who defend our freedom. Moreover, it also targets our LGBTQ+ service members by banning diversity and inclusion programs and prevents the Department of Defense from combating the dangers of mis- and disinformation. Actually, it is cruel, and could create division among our service members rather than honoring our commitment to all those who selflessly answered the call to serve. Finally, this bill weakens America's ability to protect its interests at home and abroad by failing to invest in the security of our military installations, energy, and infrastructure resilience. This omission leaves our military men and women needlessly more vulnerable. In closing, I appreciate Chairman Cole and Ranking Member DeLauro for their leadership, and Chairman Calvert and Ranking Member McCollum for their diligent work for our nation's defense and allowing me to share my remarks with you today. Unfortunately, I'm unable to support this bill as written. It fails to meet our immense responsibility to liberty and to our armed forces in defense of the American people, and I yield back.